By the start of the new millennium, urban music had embraced glitz and glamour, with rappers and R&B artists competing fiercely to outshine one another. The focus shifted from inner-city imagery to a more flashy, cash-driven aesthetic. To support this new mentality, rappers began making their music more pop-friendly, often by creating hip-hop and R&B crossover records that dominated the urban charts. A prime example was Ja Rule, who topped the Billboard charts with a series of crossover hits in the late 1990s and early 2000s. Later, Ja Rule's rival, 50 Cent, maintained his success by releasing similar hip-hop R&B crossover tracks. Jay-Z has always been driven by the desire to outdo everyone else, and his approach to music reflects this ambition. That's why he chose R.Kelly, the self-proclaimed Pied Piper of R&B, as his collaborator. Both men were at the pinnacle of their respective genres. By 2001, Jay-Z had already cemented his place as one of the most successful mainstream rappers, with 4 #1 albums, a Grammy for Best Rap Album, and numerous chart-topping hits. Similarly, by the early 2000s, R.Kelly had dominated the R&B scene and the music charts, thanks to his extraordinary songwriting and production talents. He had already achieved legendary status, not only for his solo work, but also for writing songs for icons like Michael Jackson, Britney Spears, Mariah Carey, Usher, and many others. Despite their individual success, these two giants of urban music sought to push the boundaries even further. While other artists were releasing successful hip-hop R&B singles, they decided to create an entire album together. On the surface, this collaboration of musical powerhouses seemed foolproof. Optimism was in the air on January 24, 2002, as Jay-Z and R.Kelly held a press conference to announce their Best of Both Worlds album and tour. When asked why they decided to collaborate, Jay-Z explained,
"You know, just the idea of having a whole album with myself and R.Kelly was just, see how it would come out, was just an amazing prospect."
The event felt more like a celebration than an album announcement, with the duo already envisioning the profits. R.Kelly even joked about the variety of the Best of Both Worlds merchandise they could sell on tour.
Best of Both Worlds t-shirts, drawers, condoms, everything.
The album was released on March 19, 2002, less than 2 months after the press conference, and debuted at #2 on the Billboard 200. However, what started with high hopes quickly encountered significant setbacks, beginning with the album's reception. Despite a strong debut, the buzz surrounding the Best of Both Worlds faded fast, as none of its 3 singles made it onto the Billboard charts. In hindsight, the project has been criticized as a soulless cash grab, lacking the novelty that made other rare collaborations like 21 Questions, What's Love, and I'm Real so memorable. Jay-Z and R.Kelly had previously found success with their collaborations on Jay-Z's Guilty Until Proven Innocent and R.Kelly's Fiesta remix, the most played and best-selling R&B hip-hop song of 2001, and assumed a full album would only multiply their profits. Unfortunately, instead of carefully crafting a project that showcased their best qualities, the album was rushed. Their vastly different personalities led to an awkward fit, which became apparent in the music. Rather than creating something unique, the duo leaned into the flashy, misogynistic, and braggadocious side of hip-hop, hoping their combined star power would carry the project. The album received mixed to negative reviews, with Slant magazine expressing doubt that this was truly their best effort in the 2002 review stating, "Until the next hip-hop reformation, I guess this is the best of both worlds. Somewhere, Lauryn Hill is weeping." Despite the lukewarm reception to Best of Both Worlds, Jay-Z and R.Kelly were still counting on their upcoming tour to salvage the collaboration and turn it into a profitable endeavor. However, on February 8, 2002, just as R.Kelly was performing the Star-Spangled Banner to open the Winter Olympics, the Chicago police announced they were investigating him for child pornography charges. Kelly strongly denied the allegations, dismissing them as baseless, saying, "It's crap, and that's how we're going to treat it." But on June 5, 2002, R.Kelly was arrested at his Florida home and charged with 21 counts of child pornography, effectively ending any hope of the Best of Both Worlds tour. Due to the public backlash and scrutiny surrounding R.Kelly's charges, Def Jam stopped promoting the album, and Jay-Z refused to tour, make a video, or do any interviews with R.Kelly after the revelations about the videotape. In a sit-down with DJ and journalist Sway, Jay-Z remained diplomatic but expressed regret over the lost opportunity.
That one feeling that I think about when I think about the album is just like blown opportunity. You know what I'm saying? It would have been something real creative, and that's the whole reason why that album came together was let's do something creative and new that nobody really done before. Let's bring these two genres of music together and make something really crazy, and then go out on tour and go make history. We'd probably be in Europe right now.
Despite everything, Jay-Z and R. Kelly reunited for 2004's Unfinished Business, though not before R. Kelly found himself in legal trouble once again due to his disturbing behavior. In January 2003, R. Kelly was arrested again on child pornography charges after investigators reportedly discovered photos of him engaging in sexual acts with a seemingly underage girl. However, the charges were later dropped when a judge ruled that the police lacked a proper warrant to search Kelly's home. Given the poor reception of their first album and R. Kelly's ongoing legal issues, one might question the motivation behind a second collaboration. Pitchfork explored this in their 2004 review of Unfinished Business. Radio stayed off the album like it was infected, and the artist never even bothered to make a video. As a result, the album was a relative flop, failing to sell even 1 million copies. Neither artist could cope with that sort of blot on their resumes. Furthermore, the success of R. Kelly's 2003 album, Chocolate Factory, reignited hopes within Jay-Z and Def Jam Recordings that another collaboration could be profitable. Yet, it was clear that any association with Kelly could carry a significant stigma. This was something longtime Jay-Z associate and then Rockefeller Records co-owner Dame Dash claims he warned Jay-Z about. Dame, who had been in a relationship with the late Aaliyah and whom R. Kelly illegally married when she was just 15 and he was 27, shared his views on the Best of Both Worlds partnership during a 2023 podcast appearance. "I just couldn't believe he did a project with R. Kelly knowing that he'd raped my girl. I was like, just don't put my name on that. I don't want no money from that. If it is, put it to Aaliyah Foundation." The resulting album was composed of leftover tracks from the Best of Both Worlds and was filled with the same formulaic content that initially turned critics away. Despite this, the album debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200 upon its release, but it quickly dropped to #10 in its second week. In reality, the duo made little effort to collaborate effectively, as revealed by the album's producers, Pope and Tone of the Trackmasters. Everything that could have went wrong with that album did. The entire record came together without either one of the vocalists in the studio together. The relationship between Jay-Z and R. Kelly fell apart on tour, but it fell apart before the infamous Mace incident at MSG. That's just when everyone got wind of it. It was doomed from opening night in Chicago. The tour in question was the long-awaited 40-date The Best of Both Worlds track, which had eluded both artists for 2 years and was seen as the only potential saving grace for their tumultuous collaboration. However, as the tour kicked off on September 29, 2004, it took just one performance for R. Kelly to land himself in further trouble. During the opening show, he seemed to mock the serious accusations against him. The Today Show provided a summary of the incident in their 2004 review of the tour's initial performances in Rosemont, Illinois. At the previous show, the tour's first, R. Kelly appeared to make light of the charges on several occasions. During one segment, the giant video monitors displayed a mock text message from R. Kelly seeking a female partner who must be down for anything. She must be 19 or over. He also performed a skit in which the singer dressed in a prison-style jumpsuit and simulated intercourse with 2 women inside of a cage. The backlash was swift, forcing Kelly to change his set, which caused a 2-hour delay for the following night's show. R. Kelly's increasingly high-maintenance behavior soon became apparent to the audience, with tensions between the two camps becoming more obvious. Judging by Thursday's show, the residual fallout from Kelly's troubles still has not subsided. The most glaring proof, except for 2 sets of about 20 minutes each, Jay-Z and Kelly never appeared on stage together. Instead, they mostly took turns commandeering the set, Jay flanked more often by protege Memphis Bleak than by the man with whom he's sharing top billing. Kelly, known for his passionate over-the-top performances, claimed that Jay-Z's entourage was sabotaging his set. However, Kelly's repeated unprofessionalism began to wear on Jay-Z. During just the second show of the tour, Kelly arrived 2 hours late and left early, forcing Jay-Z to finish the performance solo. This caused the show to run past 1 a.m., leading to the cancellation of the following night's show in Cincinnati because they couldn't make it on time. The tension persisted throughout the month-long tour, with the two struggling to find common ground. Jay complained that Kelly refused to rehearse with him, while Kelly accused Jay-Z's team of interference. On October 23rd, during a performance in St. Louis, R. Kelly walked off stage mid-show and assaulted the tour's lighting director. The following 2 shows in Milwaukee and Hartford were subsequently canceled, and a press release was issued to manage the fallout. The artists want to apologize to everyone who has bought tickets to the Milwaukee and Hartford shows. They are as disappointed as anyone that they won't be able to perform as scheduled. These concerts are extremely complicated stage shows with a multitude of special effects, dance numbers, and lighting and sound cues. And unfortunately, we need to take a few days off to work out some technical problems. The tension reached its peak during the October 29th show at Madison Square Garden. While performing, R.Kelly suddenly stopped the show around 9:30 p.m., claiming that two men had pointed guns at him. He then dropped the mic and walked off the stage. After security thoroughly searched the area and declared it safe to continue, Kelly attempted to return to the stage. However, as he and his two bodyguards made their way back, they were pepper sprayed by Tyron Smith, a longtime friend of Jay-Z. Tata, along with the rest of Jay-Z's team, had grown increasingly frustrated with Kelly's erratic behavior. R.Kelly was rushed to the hospital and missed the remainder of the show, while Jay-Z finished the last 45 minutes of the set on his own. Tata was subsequently arrested and pleaded guilty to a disorderly conduct charge after R.Kelly filed a criminal complaint against him. As part of his punishment, Tata was sentenced to 4 days of community service and required to attend 2 days of anger management counseling. However, it was R.Kelly who finally wore out his welcome, as the promoter decided to remove him from the remaining Madison Square Garden shows. The promoter then announced that Jay-Z, along with special guests, would continue the performances without Kelly. In response to being dropped, R.Kelly issued a statement saying, "The fans deserve better than this. I'd like the show to go on. It's really disappointing that Jay-Z and the promoter don't." In a 2019 interview with Vlad TV, Ricky Webster of the R&B group Public Announcement, who was R. Kelly's hype man for the Best of Both Worlds tour, provided a neutral account of the events leading up to the Madison Square Garden incident. He explained,
"Other dates before that, it was the same thing every night. There'd be like maybe a 10-minute video and, Jay-Z was always backstage, on point, standing there while the video was rolling. And then at some point, they'd come out on stage together and I was a hype man for the show on Rob's behalf. So this night in particular, I heard that Rob was so late and it's like the times got worse. If it was 5 minutes late, then it went from 5 minutes to 20 minutes and then to a half hour and then to an hour, whereas Jay-Z was sitting there ready, waiting. Well, that night, somebody had enough of the lateness, of all the rest of the stuff that was happening."
In the wake of their public fallout, both artists appeared on New York radio station Hot 97 to present their perspectives. Jay-Z expressed confusion over R. Kelly's decision to leave the stage, questioning how anyone could bring a gun into Madison Square Garden. "You can't get a gun inside Madison Square Garden." He suggested that R. Kelly's actions were driven by jealousy over the reception Jay received both in Kelly's home state of Illinois and at Madison Square Garden. "If people give me love, he can't take it." He also criticized Kelly for various unprofessional behaviors, such as being late for shows, altering his set list at the last minute, delaying concert start times, and leaving Jay-Z to handle radio promotions for unfinished business alone. Reflecting on the Madison Square Garden incident, Jay-Z expressed his disbelief with Angie Martinez.
"I see him in front of the stage, but I can't hear what he's saying. I thought he was going for the light move again. I didn't know he said something as ridiculous as someone in the crowd is pointing a gun at him. That's Madison Square Garden. That's a world class. They're tough in the garden. You can't do what you want in the garden. Yeah. It's tough."
After Jay-Z called into the station immediately following the show, R. Kelly decided to follow suit with his own interview with Angie Martinez. In his interview, R. Kelly attributed the tour's failure to inadequate preparation and a lack of cohesion among the production team. He also revealed that he had arrived at Madison Square Garden with some unease after receiving a threatening phone call on his personal cell earlier that day. Kelly recounted seeing a man in row 5 or 6 making a threatening gesture towards him. Despite continuing his performance, he admitted it was subpar due to his constant vigilance for a potential attacker. He also noted spotting another individual in the bleachers who appeared to be threatening. R. Kelly expressed concerns about his safety and the well-being of his wife and children who were accompanying him on the tour. In the immediate aftermath, most people sided with Jay-Z. As a result, R. Kelly was banned from Madison Square Garden, removed from the tour by the promoter, and the Best of Both Worlds tour was rebranded as Jay-Z and Friends, featuring a rotating lineup of Mary J. Blige, Usher, Ja Rule, P. Diddy, and others. Jay returned to the Garden the following night and performed for a sold-out crowd. Consequently, the tour, originally scheduled to run until November 28th, ended more than a month early. R.Kelly did not take the situation lightly, and on November 1st, 2004, filed a $75 million breach of contract lawsuit against Jay-Z and his production company Marcy Project. The lawsuit accused Jay-Z and his team of threats and violence that turned their joint tour into a nightmare, with Kelly seeking $15 million in compensatory damages and at least $60 million in punitive damages. A representative for Jay-Z responded by suggesting that R. Kelly's lawsuit was an attempt to deflect public and media attention from his upcoming felony trial involving an alleged sexual liaison with a 14-year-old child. In January 2005, Jay-Z countersued R. Kelly in Manhattan Supreme Court, alleging that R. Kelly had turned the tour into a nightmarish odyssey by frequently arriving hours late and leaving early, which led to the cancellation of shows in St. Louis, Milwaukee, and Hartford on short notice. Jay-Z's countersuit was dismissed by a judge, and the two parties eventually settled out of court for an undisclosed amount. After R. Kelly was sentenced to 30 years in prison for child sex crimes in 2022, speculation arose about the potential complicity of his social circle and collaborators. Given the significant amount of time Jay-Z and R. Kelly spent together during the Notorious tour, Jay-Z's name came up in these discussions. R. Kelly was allegedly known for having his entourage search for underage girls, leading some to question whether Jay-Z had turned a blind eye to these illegal activities. However, Jay-Z's public statements and behavior towards R. Kelly suggest that he was not fond of him. Whether this was due to disapproval of R. Kelly's predatory behavior or his own professional standards, Jay-Z is known for his business acumen. It's plausible that Jay-Z viewed their association as purely business and kept his distance from R. Kelly, who had already caused delays for the tour. Even during R. Kelly's initial 2002 arrest for child pornography, Jay-Z maintained a cautious distance while promoting their album. In a 2002 interview with Sway Calloway, Jay said, "I got love for the dude. If he's guilty, I just hope and pray that he gets help. If he's not, I wish everybody embraces him. Our contact is sparse." When R. Kelly made a comeback with Chocolate Factory in 2003, Jay-Z briefly resumed their collaboration, but the subsequent tour and working relationship collapse solidified Jay-Z's detachment. With Jay's rise to mogul status and his own controversial past, it's understandable why he would avoid discussing R. Kelly. He declined to comment on Lifetime's Surviving R. Kelly documentary, which highlighted R. Kelly's exploitation of minors. Given that Jay-Z has not been associated with R. Kelly for nearly 2 decades, it's likely that he views their past connection as a blemish on his career.